did you know that we're sitting next to someone that's super famous here? So Little made Brickle Magazine's top 20 under 40. And can you hold this real quick for me? So I just wanted to make something on purpose here.
Oh my God.
Hey guys, welcome back to Little Big Opinions. I'm Big.
And I'm Little.
And today we got a special guest, Alex. How you doing, sir?
Feeling good. Ready to talk some Dolphins.
So this is a very interesting guest here. So we are doing our new segment of Miami Dolphins Fan Experience, but you're number one. You're number one on the Miami Dolphins Fan Experience. So we're going to get to those questions, or we're going to ask you like Dolphin questions, what it's like to be a Dolphin fan. But I do want to say that I do hope that Alex is a regular on this show. Not every episode, but we do want your opinion on the Dolphins, especially when the season comes on. So
absolutely,
we're ready to have you on.
I give my opinion 24/7 in my group chat, so I'm happy to find another outlet.
That's what we're looking for. So how do you guys know each other? Why don't you guys tell the audience how you guys know each other?
Well, I'll start. So again, full circle, we're going to continue with this. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we're in a different setting here. Behind us is the L Big League show. You can just see show because we're not L Big League show. But Adrian and I went to school together at Belen Jesuit. We played baseball together, and Alex was his little brother. So I remember Alex, being in the stands, running around. And then I got to coach him at Belen as well.
Wow.
So
Absolutely. Chris got to tell me that I was getting demoted from JV to freshman. So that was a tough moment in my baseball life and career. So
Was that like the Moneyball scene? Like, did he give it to you quick or?
He pulled me to the side of the batting cages. Remember that little shed that we used to have? Now the facility's all great now, and just told me and it was a tough moment. I was heated that day, but yeah.
So remind me. So this is kind of what I want to get into because obviously it's very blurred to me and might be much more clear to you. You were a freshman when I coached you, no?
Yes, freshman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to say that this is a Hall of Fame Loyola baseball player here.
Whoa.
I was a NAIA superstar.
Doesn't matter.
That's about it.
Loyola New Orleans. He's St. Ignatius through and through. He's a
you go.
Jesuit through and through. So we will start there. But you were a freshman playing on the JV, which was a big deal as well.
Yes, I was.
All we did was demote you, or you came back to JV?
I played on both, but having to play on the freshman team, and I was, again, 15 years old, and you want to be on the JV team. And at that point, I thought I should be on varsity. Again, very delusional, which would lead into my Dolphins fandom. But I thought I could be on varsity. I thought I could be on JV. So hearing the words, you're going down to the freshman team was something very upsetting to me. So, but I'm glad you got to be a part of that memory.
Well, you came through. I guess you worked a little bit harder than. Well, first of all, you always worked hard. That was never a thing. For me, it was very difficult coaching you as the little brother because there was favoritism. Could have been favoritism, and I just wanted to be a straight shooter as much as I could. But I remember you just playing on the JV team. I don't remember demoting you ever, but I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I think he would know.
It happened. I promise you
it's
it
the
happened.
reason why he became a superstar.
But you played on JV.
I did play on JV, yes.
Yeah,
I did.
okay.
Yeah, I played on both.
All right, so there we go.
You created his Michael Jordan moment,
There you go,
essentially.
yeah.
You're the guy.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
We're still friends now, so that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Is there anything? So the other day I was walking to play golf the other day, and two guys staring at me. Wasn't sure why they were staring at me, and they're like, "Coach Chris, you coached us at Belen." And I was like, "Nice to see you." I had no idea who they were at all.
No clue?
No clue at all. So how was I as a coach?
So I have very vivid memories, but very specific. So I don't have like broader memories, but I thought you were great. You and Chris Garcia were like joint coaches, I believe, on the JV team my freshman year.
No, I don't think so. Chris Garcia also. I mean, he might have shown up every once in a while because we both played at FIU together.
That's right. Yeah, Chris Garcia, I know, coached me at some point. I might have been sophomore, junior year. I might have been a little later.
Yeah, because I was there for 1 year and then I went to PT school. So maybe Chris coached you after that.
But I think because you knew me, you pushed me harder than other guys. Like you were more on top of me. You were more, shit talking me and stuff like that, which I like. That's how I like to be coached.
Yeah, I do have a bad habit of that. If I know you and like you, I ride people a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I'm definitely the guy, if I'm not talking to you, you should be worried.
Yeah. I enjoyed it completely. I think, like you mentioned, having that memory of being sent down the freshman year, just kind of like, really chip on my shoulder.
It ignited you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, that's interesting.
Very cool. Now, you're pretty famous in New Orleans, Loyola, New Orleans. Did you know that we're sitting next to someone that's super famous here? So Little made Brickle Magazine's top 20 under 40. And can you hold this real quick for me? So I just wanted to make something on purpose here.
Oh my God.
Oh, that is fantastic.
This is ridiculous. And
So,
oh my God.
Doesn't he look good?
That is fantastic. That's a good pick, man. That's a good pick.
That?
Wow.
You like that?
I can't believe you did this.
Nose. Yeah, his nose is right between my breasts. So, I had to.
Motorboating.
We're just so proud of this guy. But yeah, you are with Brickle's new legend.
Those-
Top 20 under 40. What number are you? What number did you come in at?
I don't think there's any specific rankings.
For sure you ranked yourself, though. When you looked at the top 20 list, what would you say you are?
I'm not going to comment on anything.
Oh,
There's
you're
no-
the worst.
There's no.
You're the worst.
How am I supposed to know? It's just a top 20 list. There was no rankings.
Do you get this, Mark? Is it coming out? Oh, fantastic.
Well, there we are. Most embarrassing part of my life.
All right, so some big news in the Dolphins world. The schedule release is coming out soon, but November 16th, Dolphins playing Madrid, first ever NFL game in Madrid. What are you guys feeling about the game in Madrid against the Commanders?
Well, I don't know if you see my shirt, but I got my bags packed, baby.
Oh,
I'm going to be going. November 17th is my birthday, so I think we got to go. And you know what? Brittany always wants to travel, and for whatever reason, I've been trying to get her to book this since Friday, since, we kind of got the leaks that it was going to happen, and she's slow stepping, so I'm a little worried.
Uh-oh.
But are you going to Spain?
There's currently budget cuts in the county. Right now we have a $400 million financial gap. So we're gonna see here if we can make this happen. I really do. We've been saying that we want to go to the Madrid game this whole time. So we're gonna check it out. Maybe we could do a fundraiser like at Checkers on Bird Road and 87th
This
Avenue.
is the second
like back
time
in
you
the day.
break this news to me on a podcast. One, we're not going to be seeing ticket holders next year, and now you're not going to Spain with me. Are you planning on going to Spain, Alex?
Probably not.
All right.
I'll likely not make that trip. I travel enough as I do for work, but I do like the idea of having a game in Spain and having our fan base specifically be such a strong Spanish-speaking fan base. If there's a way that the Dolphins can become like the Spain's NFL team, that would have a kind of nice kind of touch to it, in my
absolutely.
opinion. I believe they have a deal with the airlines, like their official team of Colombia or something like that, I believe. So I think they're definitely leaning into the Spanish-speaking market, which
I think
is
they're
always gonna
the
help.
official team of Spain.
Yeah.
So the NFL had that little initiative where they're going to give different countries teams, and then Spain is the Dolphins. So
Yeah.
To play where they're playing where Real Madrid plays, Santiago Bernabeu, which would be absolutely phenomenal to play in, right? That stadium is world renowned. I was coming, on the right here, thinking Devon Churros. How about Tyreek Jamon Gilberico? What do you think about that? Are those two good ones?
wow,
I think you're going to have to make more T-shirts like that one and get them going.
that's fantastic, Ryan.
One other thing. The Dolphins are not very good in international games.
No.
They played 7 games. Can you guess what their record has been?
Ooh.
7
I'm gonna go
games.
3-4.
Close.
I'm going to go 1-6.
2-5.
Should have said 2 because you said
2
close, but-
and 5. Last game, 2023, Frankfurt, Germany against the
Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs, and that whole thing with, Tyreek fumbling to, and the
Fumbling
guy
the
taking
ball.
it back. Just absolutely terrible. But hopefully now that we have Spanish speakers, the Oles, maybe we can bring us some luck.
You just brought some bad memories because
2 and 5. I mean,
because one of those games was Joe Philbin was against the Raiders over there in London.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember
And
that
he
game.
started off 0-4, and he got fired on the way home across the pond.
uh-oh.
right.
And we're talking November 16th, so we're later in the year.
It's week 11, so that means we should
McDaniel.
have a late bye too, which would be nice if we're good. But, jeez.
And if we're not good, that could be the chopping block for Mikey McD. So we don't want that to happen. We're Mikey McD fans here. We want it to be
As
a
am
good
I.
year.
As am I, absolutely.
So we'll see what happens. Some other news: rookie minicamp started this past week. We got we got the new rookies coming in. All of them assigned except for Jonas Savanea at this point. What are you guys thinking about the rookies?
I think I'm really excited. Obviously, our top guys. I mean, Kenneth Grant. The more you look into him, I think Dolphins fans want a sexy pick, and I'm definitely in that contingent, right? So, you get tired of taking tackles every year and guys like that. But I think, when you look at, it's hard to not pick a guy like that when you see what the Eagles did during their season and during the Super Bowl, right? Like, I think nobody expected that kind of punch to the mouth to the Chiefs, and they did it because of guys like very similar to Kenneth Grant at all positions on the line and defense and stuff like that. So Kenneth is really exciting. Obviously, Jordan Phillips is really exciting. I know Chris wanted to talk about him. And I think the draft went well. It filled gaps that we needed to fill. Obviously, we still have a lot of needs in the secondary. DB, definitely. Safety, I know we got Ashton Davis from the Jets, but, probably a little bit more depth there. Maybe find somebody else in free agency that would help a lot. But, yeah, I think the rookies are really exciting. Taking Quinn Ewers, I think, in the 7th was really smart. That way you build out the quarterback room. I'm a big proponent of you take a quarterback every single year, no matter what. Whether you have 4 or 5 guys, take them in the 6th, in the 5th, in the 4th even. Whatever guy you feel convicted on, I think you take him any year. And you make them compete, right? At the end of the day, right? Like, I think, this training camp obviously won't be a competition at quarterback, but I do think, given the history at that position the last 2 years, Zach Wilson's going to come in pretty confident, right? Pretty confident that, hey, I might play 3-4 games and might keep this team, this team's head above water, So that's exciting. And I think, from a rookie UDFA standpoint, I love Andrew Armstrong. I'm a big Brandon Marshall guy. Brandon Marshall, apologies here. I love him. That was like my favorite receiver.
Wow.
Unique story that involves Chris as well. Chris was the one that told me about Brandon Marshall getting traded to the Dolphins while I was in freshman year biology. I was on my sidekick, and I got the group chat text saying, Brandon Marshall to the Miami Dolphins. And again, I was big Dolphins fan, but you're still trying to, I was 15, getting into football, a little bit more. And then Brandon Marshall became like
texting players during school. Jeez.
Yeah. Brandon Marshall became like my staple. My friends will get on me for that. I loved Brandon Marshall as a kid, especially on the Dolphins. So you see a guy like Andrew Armstrong, 6'4", 200 pounds.
Wearing number 19 now.
Wearing number 19, which, is a little tricky. You look back at the history of that number, and it's a little, it's a little unsettling as a Dolphins fan. But I think that kind of guy can come out and, make a difference at least in the wide receiver 4-5 position, right? I know we got Nick Westbrook from Tennessee, who I'm excited about as well, hopefully in the slot. And then Jalen Connors is an inline tight end, former quarterback, so he's athletic. He's taking carries in college, and so he's somebody in that tight end group that's a little bit, I think undervalued, but I think might have
a little wild
might have
card
a chance.
there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot to unpack out of what you just said.
Oh yeah.
So let's slow you down a little bit. Let's stick with the wide receiver here, Armstrong here. I watched him a little bit because we didn't watch UDFAs at the beginning of our rookie, after the draft and everything, because we want to see who kind of sticks. He's very interesting to me. He had like a 6th-round grade. So basically, if based on NFL.com, their 6th grade is more of like a backup or special teamers. As you said, he's got great stats going into SEC. Like, he led the SEC in receiving. Like,
Arkansas, right?
Like, yeah. Arkansas, that's a big deal. And what they don't like about him, apparently, is that he can't get off routes and he's very slow. But when you watch, he's always open. Like, he always finds the spots. And what's even more exciting, not being a fast guy, after he catches the ball, he makes plays after the catch. So I don't want to get excited about UDFA guy. We say it now, and he'll probably get cut tomorrow. But I definitely think that he can play a role, at least pushing during training camp.
And the size is something that's absolutely intriguing for something that we do need. He does fill a need there. The wide receiver room, I feel, is a little deep, but deep with smaller guys. Obviously you got Hill, Waddle, you got Malik Washington, Taj Washington last year who didn't play, from USC. So let's take a look. But with Westbrook and Kinney and now Armstrong, something could be there.
Yeah. We can get to some free agent wide receivers later because there's one that I really think makes total sense, and I don't know why we haven't done it, but we'll get to it in a second. Let's go to our favorite topic, quarterbacks. Okay, I know based on our conversations, we did have Quinn Ewers. I have a problem with Quinn Ewers. It's not because we picked him. If we were going to do it, why don't we pick Shador? So,
that's
any
fair.
comments on Shador? Would you like to see?
I would have absolutely taken Shador over Quinn Ewers. Definitely, I think.
Over Jordan Phillips is really the answer.
I think for what you need now, I mean, I likely would not have taken Shador over Jordan Phillips. I did want Shador earlier in the draft, definitely. But, as you hear what comes out, and, I'm sure there was a reason why the fall was the fall, right? I'm sure there were things, that happened during those pre-draft interviews and everything leading up to it that caused that, right? So I think a guy like Phillips fills a gap that you need more right now if you're in a win-now window, which we are. I mean, like, we were talking about the salaries that we have on the team with Tyreek on the team and Tua and all that. You're in a win now window. You want to try to push this roster towards winning right now, and also try to develop a quarterback at the same time if you can, which is why I think Ewers kind of fell into our lap in the 7th, where it's like, this is the perfect mix of, we took all the guys that we think we needed, and now let's get another guy in a position that we can hopefully develop to give us a little back end value, I think. So, not sure I would have taken Shador over Jordan Phillips, now looking into it. But
Ryan, did you see Shador over this weekend with the Browns or no?
I did not.
That guy was throwing bombs all day long. I mean, did they draft Dylan Gabriel? Because we would have no idea. Like,
They
it
sure
seems
did.
like Shador is
They
the
have-
guy that they're marketing.
They have 5 quarterbacks now, but that's the thing about Shador. Why are you watching other rookie mini camps? The reason why you're watching Shador Sanders is just because of all the chaos, right? And does this team really do the Miami Dolphins really need that distraction in the room with Tyreek Hill? I mean, with Tua Tagovailoa, having what's going on with Mike McDaniel in the locker room and stuff like that I don't think you need another wild card at this point. You need someone like Quinn Ewers, take a late flyer, played in Sarkisian's offense at Texas. Very similar concepts to the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel. So I think it's a smarter pick, in my opinion. And as Alex mentioned, filling that depth, that need with Jordan Phillips and the defensive tackle is something that I think was a smarter play.
And I think one thing you mentioned as well was it's not only does the team need it, does McDaniel, Tua doesn't need that, right? Like, Tua doesn't need that whole, the whole thing coming into that position group specifically, right? If it's a very, loud wide receiver or safety, whatever the case may be, that's another position, another positional coach to
Not in
deal
the
with.
room.
But when that's in your room and you're in the, I wouldn't say situation, but you're in the predicament right now where the Dolphins are with Tua and the quarterback, where, we just can't seem to break through against the division. I think you mentioned a certain specific point where he doesn't need that specifically.
That continues to
going forward.
lead into the problem of the locker room, and that's soft. Like, if you're worrying about the guy behind you, because I'm the biggest Tua fan here. Maybe you are a little bit bigger, but I am a huge Tua fan. But are we going to continue with these guys? And I don't want to hurt their feelings. Be better and become the Hall of Fame at Loyola in New Orleans. Okay, that's what you got to do. And if you can't handle that competition, then forget winning in the playoffs. We're not going to do it. I don't think that about Tua. I think he could have handled it. That's why I would have been okay with it. But we're not going to continue going on through this.
No, but you bring up something with a good locker room. A recent article came out with Omar Kelly in Miami Herald talking about Mike McDaniel, right, and his dynamic. And an executive out there, it's basically saying they're calling it the Miami Country Club. Someone compared Mike McDaniel to a substitute teacher instead of Flores, who was a totalitarian, a principal, a dictator. So it's a little bit different. I think the players need to step up too, but Mike McDaniel needs to step up, right? We need to be a little bit more firm on this team, on our players, with either the fines, holding people accountable, but we also need the team captains to step up as well, and Tua, but it also starts with the head coach. Has to be.
Last year they tried with the player empowerment and the whole thing, and it freaking blew up in their face.
Shut the bed. They shut the bed.
And you can see the stark differences, right? You see Anthony Weaver with defensive coordinator, how well he brought that group together toward the second half of the year. That team played really well, and they played even better when Dodson came in. When Dodson came into that linebacker group, that whole defense
Got Dodson here.
they really wanted to play, and they were tight. That Green Bay game, they played really well. The offense wasn't putting anything out, and they're a bend not break, but at some point the defense is going to break. Right?
Yeah, that muff punt, by Malik Washington, rookie mistake.
There's a lot. You look back at those last 8-9 games, and they played really, really well, and it's that's a different mentality, right? Weaver and McDaniel are probably connect on a lot of things, but I think philosophically they're very, very different in regards to how they approach it. It's very clear that Weaver has these guys playing much more physical, much harder. They play that style of football where, I think our offense is great. We record-setting 2023, and then we get to the Chiefs, and we can talk about the conditions of that game, right? 20 degrees below zero, whatever the case may be, it makes it tough on anybody to play football. But I think it was very clear that whether it's there, whether it's Buffalo, whether it's San Francisco, in San Fran, all these December games we keep losing, it's very clear that the offense shrivels when more physical teams come to town. So I think Weaver's approach on offense hopefully bleeds over, right? Hopefully we play a little bit more smash mouth offensive football and not just take the 2-3 yard dinkers that we always take, and hopefully we get a little bit more aggressive on offense.
I'm just gonna say one thing. I've never met Alex before. I have a man crush on this guy already. First of all, the eyes are incredible, and then just the knowledge. I'm gonna put you behind, and I'm gonna go with this guy. Okay?
That's completely fine.
All right. I have a man crush right
It's
now.
fine. It's just like the hot girl walks by and you just forget about the wife for a second. I don't understand why you're doing
Oh,
that. Jeez.
The literal meme, the meme of the guy looking
Yeah,
back.
jeez.
He does make good potaje, so I always go back to him.
But that'll take us to. I think we can address more of the rookies and everything else with the whole team. Like, what do you guys feel like the biggest weaknesses of our team still?
I think a defensive back, definitely. I think, especially with the situation we're in with Ramsey. If Ramsey was, hey, I'm here, 10 toes down, I'm showing up to training camp, I'd feel a little bit better. It seems like both parties are leaning towards finding a trade partner, figuring out what that's like. So that's going to leave an even bigger hole, on defensive backside. Safety, I think Ashton Davis is a good fill-in. I'm not sure if that's the kind of guy that comes in and gets Pro Bowl votes and really kind of plays to I think the level you want. Anthony Weaver, I think, is a perfect guy to elevate everybody's game. I think a lot of defensive players are just going to play better under his system, so that's going to be exciting. But yeah, I think defensive back and safety are just two positions that are glaring holes. And it's hard to look at because of the fact that our defensive line and our linebackers are so good. Like those guys, I'm really confident that we'll be able to stop the run significantly better this year. But if we can't stop the pass in this 2025 football in the NFL, it's going to be very tough to win.
Ryan?
Yeah. DBs obviously is by far the biggest weakness in my opinion, but I would also have to go with offensive line. I just feel as though every year we get into week 10, week 11, and the center is out, or the left tackle is out, the right tackle. The more depth that we can add to this position, I feel like we do have our 5 day one starters, right? Mm-hmm. I would love to add more depth. I know you have Larry Borum right now, who's a right tackle or a left tackle that can a swing tackle right now. Add more versatile depth to the offensive line, just because we know where we've been before.
Yeah.
Right. Totally agree with you because right now Liam Eichenberg is still playing on this team. If there's an injury to anybody, center or guard, and even tackle. But I'm going to say one of the rookies that I heard a lot about this during the mini camp is Dante Trader, the guy from Maryland. So he's definitely not the most athletic guy, but he was the smart guy. Like, he was a smart player. He was a good communicator. Apparently, he was already communicating all over the field this week.
Love to hear that.
So you brought up the name Rashard Jones, 5th-round safety, and this is another 5th-round safety. So I'm kind of getting excited. I don't want to get too excited. You keep forgetting the Lions guy, because I would too, because I don't know how to say his name.
That's
But
right.
I think he's the guy that's going to be starting more than Ashton Davis. And they love Patrick McMorris from last year. He got hurt early in the year, but they had high hopes for him. So I do think if we trust Anthony Weaver, which seems like you guys have huge trust in Anthony Weaver, I don't think it's that big of a concern, especially in the back end. We can't leave Trader by himself from what I've seen. Split safety, he'll be okay. The lone safety, he'll get burned because he doesn't have that speed. But I am very concerned about corner for sure, but I am more concerned about offensive line. Because if we control the offense, control the ball, keep it into his hands, keep it with the running backs, make big plays when we need to, I think you can get ahead in the game where maybe now we can let our strength, which we all are excited about, the defensive line and the edge rushers, maybe they can put enough pressure where you don't have to hold them that much. But for sure right now, if we're playing from behind, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna probably double down again on the offensive line where you mentioned. I think Patrick Paul learning under Teron Armstead last year, I think was huge. I think he's going to be able to step in, maybe not be, like you said, maybe not a Pro Bowl type guy, but I think he's going to be able to come into the attack position and play really well. Liam's going to be the guy to come in on an injury, but he's not going to start, which I guess is a win here in this situation. Aaron Brewer was playing really great ball towards the end of the last season, long stretch. He was playing really, really well once he got really more comfortable with his snaps, I should say. So yeah, I would probably say DB and O-line are probably the top ones.
And then our biggest strength. What are you going to say our biggest strength is?
Oh, I absolutely think the front 7. I'm going to package them all together. We know what we have on our defensive line. And like you mentioned earlier, Alex mentioned earlier, Dotson, I love Jordan Brooks. Absolutely love Jordan Brooks. I think our front 7 can compete with anybody else in the NFL, and it's going to be the strength of this football team.
And then you have Chop Robinson, who had a really strong end of the year as well for a rookie. And then you get Chubb and Phillips back. And, again, health permitting, which feels like my
Huge.
lifetime as a Dolphins fan is an asterisk of health permitting. Health permitting, this might be one of the best defensive front sevens, like you mentioned, in football. It really can be, right? I think, especially with the addition of Kenneth Grant, like this is maybe not Eagles level, but I think it's pretty close, right?
So I'm gonna ask you that. Like I'm gonna go into your strength as a professional here. How can we continue having the same type of guys, the same injury-prone type of guys? How can we keep relying on those players? Like, how is that a build where we're just going to completely ignore it over and over again? I think finally this year in the draft, they avoided those type of players, and they definitely went for sure guys who show up and play a lot of snaps. But how do you end up in the same situation like that if common sense for fans think, like, don't bring in a guy that's always hurt? Because if guys that's always hurt usually gets hurt.
Well, in this case, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a professional in this one. I would actually say you're the professional in this specific, injury, kind of rehab, return kind of stuff. But I think in that manner, it's more, does the reward outweigh the risk, right? And I think that was very clear with Tua, right? Tua was a pick like that, where you're very clear that injury history is not all red, but it's red, especially more recently after that hip injury.
Yeah.
Right? Had that hip injury not happened that final year going into the draft, I think things would have been a little bit different. But even going back to that, he had, the tightrope surgery on his ankle. I think on both. I might be wrong about that, but obviously there was nothing that would suggest that he was going to have these concussion issues. But the smaller frame does kind of lend itself to that. But that's a bit of a tricky situation. But yeah, it's more about reward and risk. Like it's similar in baseball with guys who have had Tommy John before. Some guys come out and they end up having 8-9 years after Tommy John, and they're great. Some guys blow out a year and a half later. It's kind of tricky, right? So you want to sometimes you're willing to take the reward or take the risk if the reward you think is going to be big enough, right? So I think, we've had tough luck with that, but that's just the way the ball rolls.
I don't see it as tough luck, to be honest, because you have Jalen Phillips, who's injury prone in college and almost retired because he was injured. And then we trade for Bradley Chubb and a first rounder that nobody else wanted to give up, who is always injury prone. And the year that we probably our best chance at the Super Bowl, they both get hurt. And that's what happens. And the next year, Jalen Phillips gets hurt again. I love the guy. I wish him all the best, and I hope that he's there. I'm not relying on Jalen Phillips at all. I think he's going to get hurt again, whether small nicks. It's just a hard season to happen. Hopefully he doesn't start the year, to be honest. I don't want him to start the year so he can have plenty of time, because I'm not saying that but there's difference between training and rehab. And rehab, you'll get strong enough to perform. But the longer the time goes, the better. And that's my only hope for Bradley Chubb, is that he didn't play at all last year. So hopefully he's as healthy as he can be. But you're getting up there, 29, 30 years old. It's not the same. We all know. We get up and we don't recover the same. We have a beer. I'm hurting tomorrow. Like, my patients are going to see me with my eyes closed.
Go ahead.
What is the recovery time for an ACL, which Jalen Phillips suffered last year?
He did. That was ACL was last year. Oh, so
it was Achilles the year before.
okay. So I mean, technically, you can come back as soon as 6 months, but the research absolutely shows that anybody that comes back before 9 months, there's a greater risk at re-tearing, significantly more, like 60% re-tear rate at that. I don't fear that he won't re-tear. Wouldn't be my fear. My fear would be, like, he's an explosive player. Now he has a bad Achilles, a bad knee. He's not going to have the same explosion that he had before. So he might be a run stopper, which we definitely need the edge, but I don't think that he's going to have the explosion to kind of rush the passer like we're hoping for.
But you do feel that Bradley Chubb, who had a whole year off,
right,
his ACL tear, he should be full go.
Yeah.
Ready to go from day one.
Yeah, but he's also 30 at this point, 29.
The other one that we haven't really talked about was Austin Jackson. Right tackle, got hurt last year. And now, again, is he going to be back for training camp? So that's another thing that goes back to the O-line depth.
No, why wouldn't he come back?
Just making sure. Is he going to be back? I don't know if he's going to be back
I hate to talk about this, but I don't want to say, I don't know exactly where he's in his timeline, but I mean, when you repair a meniscus, that's the difference, right? So if you repair it, there's blood supply to certain portions of the meniscus, and there's other parts of the meniscus that don't have blood supply. So that's the difference. They cut it if there's no blood supply. They fix it if there is blood supply. So it's not anyone's choice except the doctors when they go in and see where that tear is. So he's a big guy. So when you repair it, you don't put weight on the meniscus because you want it to let it heal. So when you start to flex the knee, so if I go into a squat, anytime you go to the bathroom, anytime you go to your bed, anytime you sit down, you're squatting from 90 degrees of flexion to 120 degrees of flexion of the knee, meaning going down that way, is when you start putting pressure on the meniscus. And then at 120, you have full pressure on that meniscus. That's what you want to try to avoid early. And that's why it's a longer rehab. Once you get past that, then it's the same. Then you're walking in and you're starting rehab from day one. So 6 months is plenty of time for him to recover. He should be fine. He's a bigger guy, of course, but he is on the younger side, also injury prone. But I don't fear that he shouldn't be back from his injury last year. But because he has nicks and bruises, I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. But that's a different story.
I just wanted to tap into this guy's, incredible physical therapy prowess. That's what we need more.
But it's hard to talk about it because I have no idea where these people are, what happened, what the surgery was, what the precautions are, what the protocol is. So anything can change, but I'm just giving you general guidelines of that. So if it was a different meniscus where they just clean it up, they walk in, we're doing squats day one. I mean, whatever you can do, you can do. If you can, except run. You're not running day one. But you can bike day one if you needed to.
All right, so we opened to the server. You are the first of our Dolphins fan experience. So we got some questions to you. Number one, earliest Dolphins memory and one reason why it made you love this Dolphins team.
I think the earliest memory is more so every Sunday, right? Rather than one specific memory, I think what got me into Dolphins football and Hurricanes football for that matter, right, was once I started really acknowledging what football was, I knew that every Saturday the Hurricanes were going to play, every Sunday the Dolphins were going to play when they were in season. So, that's what kind of really got me into that. Seeing how just, aggressively passionate my father was with the Dolphins kind of got me into it, right? You always want to follow in your dad's footsteps, do things that he does, and, like the things that he likes. And it's kind of, similar why we loved the Marlins growing up, Heat, Dolphins, all that. My dad also got very, very lucky that, he got here to Miami in the 70s and just had a phenomenal 20, 30-year run of Hurricanes and Dolphins football, right?
Yeah.
So it was very easy to get into that and get behind that. So that's probably my earliest memory. I think specifically, if I had to pick one, I would definitely say either the 1-15 season where I started to understand what heartbreak was and what losing every year was. But then immediately, I think flipping it later on, and that 11-5 season with Chad Pennington, Ted Ginn, getting there. I think that was the first year where I'm like, I'm in, right? Because we beat the Jets, we go to the playoffs.
The wild card.
Yeah,
the
we're
wild
excited.
card.
We get to the wild card. The Ravens put 140 points, it feels like, on us. And I go outside and I threw my Ted Ginn Jr. T-shirt in the trash.
Oh.
Like, that is a vivid memory that I had. So
Number 19.
Number 19,
And
yeah,
that was
exactly.
the last year of Ted Ginn.
Yeah,
And then we traded for Brandon Marshall.
absolutely, yeah. It's a cursed number. That Brandon Marshall got traded. When he traded for him, my brother got me an orange Monday Night Football number 19 Brandon Marshall jersey. But when he bought it for me, it was already 3 years down the road. He gets it for me. A week later, Brandon Marshall gets traded. So that number 19's got, it's got a curse for the fandom in general. But yeah, it's just not
Maybe
a lucky
Armstrong can bring it back.
number. Yeah, but I would definitely say that loss to the Ravens, I think, is what kind of stamped me like at the Passport Center. Here you go, Dolphins fandom for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
So
22-3.
So you say that loss is the biggest moment that stuck with you?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
Because
So-
I wanted to come back. I wanted to come beat the Ravens, and that's how you
And we haven't beat them since, except 1 year.
Tua.
Yeah, when we played in
Back-to-back years,
Chicago.
actually, yeah.
So I'll tell you something about that. We were in Chicago with our family, and I remember it was Thursday. I was like, the Dolphins play. But, of course, they had benched Tua already, so I didn't care. We go to this fancy restaurant, and I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, oh, shit, Tua's in. And then, oh, my God, we're winning. And then I think we watched the rest of the game on our phone, Mark, or did we end up going somewhere? Just give me a thumb. Oh, you can tell.
I don't remember.
Oh.
I think
in the
it
stadium.
was
I was
on
in the
our
stadium for
phone.
that game.
I would imagine on our phone.
I was in the stadium for that game, and I think it was who's the starting quarterback that year?
For the
Winston.
Bears?
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett, that's
Yeah.
right. And then when Tua comes in,
Unbelievable.
very, very Brad Pitt and Troy style, comes in off the sideline, and crowd goes crazy, and then he hits Albert Wilson on that
Albert
long
Wilson, yep.
pass down the sideline. So beat Lamar Jackson. The Ravens team was very good, so that was an exciting moment.
That
for
was
sure.
when Cover Zero was great, which is so funny because another funny thing about that season is that we stopped our pod that year. It was the London game. We were at your house, and the Jacksonville Jaguars just beat us. Was this guy Urban Meyer couldn't win a freaking game, and they beat us. And Mark looks at me and goes, "Oh, when are we going to record the pod?" I'm like, "I can't do this shit anymore. Like, like this is it."
While we were making brunch at our house and just taking forever.
Yeah.
That was such a shitty game.
I made,
then we won-
I made pancakes, the Captain Crunch
Captain
pancakes.
Crunch pancakes. Yeah.
And then we won every game after that until we obviously lost.
We were
Seven
the
straight,
reason.
7 straight. I remember that. Yeah.
We were the reason why we were holding them down. So I think we did them a good favor.
And why we didn't come back last year, because I didn't want to be the reason why they stunk, but they just did that on their own. Another interesting question we have. Give me one former player, doesn't have to be one of your favorite players, but a former player that you think can help this team the most.
Sam Madison. I think it's by a landslide. I think especially if you lose Ramsey, you definitely need somebody like that, a shutdown corner. I think that position doesn't go out of style in any era of football. I think any guy that can match up with your 1 or your 2 even, or even your tight ends, right? You see the way tight ends are being used now. Any guys that can come into the slot, play the nickel, even if it's your top guy, and cover a tight end when you need him on 3rd and 5 and 3rd and short. I think those guys are, they're not a dime a dozen. They're diamonds they're diamonds, right? So Sam Madison, Pat Surtain probably right behind them. It's probably a close 1 and 2. I'm a little younger, so I would say maybe Vontae Davis if I want to give a guy that I actually saw play. But yeah, I would probably say Sam Madison number 1.
Yeah, Pat Surtain was better than Sam Madison, no?
Yeah.
But I do gravitate more to Sam Madison. There's something about Sam Madison. He was just such a baller. He was a leader on that team, wearing 29. Love that guy.
Yeah, remember it was Terrell Buckley, Sam Madison, and then Terrell Buckley got moved to the slot when Patrick Surtain came, and then he became Surtain. Then we traded Terrell Buckley, or he signed with the Patriots, and then they won the Super Bowl in 2001, the first one that they won. And it was Terrell Buckley and, 2 guys.
Troy Vincent, maybe?
No, a fullback and someone else who sent a picture to the Dolphins.
Oh, Larry Izzo.
Larry Izzo with their rings and a middle finger to the Miami Dolphins.
I think I'm saying Sam Madison 'cause I think my dad talked about him so often that I just this is the best cornerback in Dolphins history in my mind. When I started watching,
Yeah.
so I think Sam Madison.
I mean, if you said it like that, why not Xavier Howard? That guy was just plenty good.
Yeah.
Plenty good, and never on a good team. He's still available. We can sign him.
Did he play? He didn't play last
He
year.
didn't play last year, no.
Yeah.
He got torched the year before. But
those 2 interceptions Howard had against the Patriots on Monday Night Football, and then the one-handed against the Chiefs are still I think
man.
top
he was
3
so
picks.
good. We've talked about this plenty.
Shutdown corner.
Yeah.
I don't know if he goes on the Ring of Honor, but he's definitely
He should be.
Close.
one of the
Yeah,
top
close.
top players in Dolphins history. He's definitely one of our favorite players as a.
Did he win
Dolphin
a
fan.
Defensive Player of the Year, or he came in second that year? I think he lost it to
To Stephon
to
Gilmore?
TJ
I know he got
TJ
votes.
Watt.
Yeah, I don't think he won, but yeah.
to TJ Watt.
Yeah, he didn't win.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go boldest prediction for this upcoming year.
Boldest prediction is that we return to 2023 offense where we're scoring on all levels of the offense. That's the one thing that I didn't like about last year was it seemed like we couldn't score past 10 yards, right? We couldn't find a way to the end zone. We would get there eventually, but it would be chipping away, right? Where it felt like in 2023 we were scoring at will
Downfield.
on every level, right? On all 3 levels of the game, post, out, goes, obviously. So I think my boldest prediction is 11-5. We're right there at the end of the year, kind of where we were in 23 as well, getting to the end of the season against the Bills, fighting for the division, which we think we should have had. That's probably my boldest prediction is 11-5 division winners, and we go into the first round of the playoffs, hopefully with home field advantage. That's me being as positive as I can be, I think.
We almost had it in 2023. That Sunday night Bills game, that punt return, just heartbreak as a fan, huh? To be back in that position, I would give up anything right now. To be back in that position, having that feeling about that team, right?
I tailgated for that game. We were there for the entire game. That one, yeah, definitely a heart sink moment. I think probably number 2 still behind that Ravens loss in 2000, whenever it was, 2010 or 8. But yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah, that game was really tough because I was up for 24 hours because I flew back from Dublin, Ireland. So the time that I woke up in Dublin and the game started was 24 hours that I was awake. And I got there late. So the Uber driver, she needed to follow the rules. And I was like, just stop here. And then I start running. And I realize how exhausted I am. And I hear the game start. And I'm like, oh, my God, I got to get there on time. Then I hear huge cheering. And I text. And that's when Tua threw his first interception. Then I got there for the rest of the game. We had Christian Wilkins had the sack right on the 50-yard line.
Man.
We were on our side of the field, long third downs, like we're going to win this game, like it's going to happen, and it ends like it always ends with a loss.
And I was in Buffalo as well. I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Albert Naya. We flew together. Flew there and came back on the same day for that Buffalo Bills wild card game in Buffalo when Skylar Thompson started.
Skylar Thompson game. Wow.
And we were there. That first half was as silent as it could be for us. We were like, why did we come here? Why did we spend this money? This is terrible. And then Wilkins gets a strip sack, and Sealer scores a touchdown.
Yep.
I can tell you, when Wilkins stripped that ball and they scored coming right out of halftime, and we took I think like a 10-point lead, that entire stadium was silent.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I was wearing
goosebumps.
this jacket right here. It's very flamboyantly teal and orange, and we were feeling really good amongst Bills fans who were definitely giving it to us verbally.
Oh, I can imagine.
So I would definitely say a high moment right there. It was definitely we had a thought that we could win.
That's so sad that a high moment ends in a loss. But.
Yeah.
32-29, I think it was. But Skylar Thompson played okay in that
did,
game,
yeah.
and the defense was just getting after Josh Allen.
He played very well. Jalen Waddle had like
If
2
Waddle
big
doesn't
drops.
drop that pass, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Waddle doesn't
at
drop
the end
that.
of the game, too.
So much heartbreak. So much heartbreak.
Well, this was a very fun episode. I think we really got into the weeds of the Dolphins, which I've been wanting to do. So if it's not what you guys are looking for, please let us know in the comments because Big and Little have been fighting about that for some time. But we're going to end with something fun. So at work, I do a lot of interviewing for all the physical therapists that come in. And I always end with this question. And it's very important how you answer. So I'm going to judge you based on your answer. And I like to do this because it makes people answer for real. Like, it's not what they're expecting. So we've already spoken that we know Marvel, and we like Marvel. So we're big Marvel fans. And I have a question. If in the Civil War, are you team Tony Stark or team Captain
Cap,
America?
always, yeah, through and through. 100%.
Okay, so explain why Captain America.
I just think, it's I don't want to get this very political, but yeah, I just think superheroes shouldn't be signing up for any sort of registration. I think they're their own entity, and they're in that specific world. I think they should run themselves. They should, legislate themselves. They should govern themselves, and that's kind of, again, this is all theoretical, but that's definitely Team Cap through and through.
Nice. Ryan, do you have an answer?
I'm absolutely Team Stark. It's the sexier pick. The way, spoiler alert, the way that guy passes away, you just want to, the sacrifice that man makes for the entire universe, that's someone I would want to fight for. Team Stark all the way.
So I will say this, okay? I'm going to look into the camera here. I'm going to tell you that there's only one true answer, and that one true answer is that it's Tony Stark. Because
Woo!
if there is one thing that I have learned about Captain America is that he's basically just propaganda and the most selfish Avenger that there is.
Wow.
That's a take. That is a take and a half is what that is.
That is a take. But I'm going to ask you this. Would you rather have the character arc of someone who starts as selfless as possible and becomes as selfish as possible, or the character arc that becomes a selfish person and become as selfless as possible? Which character arc, without names, would you choose?
It's gonna take a lot for you to take me off of my Captain America trip here. That's my guy. That's the Marvel Superman.
The only thing that he cares about is his buddy Bucky and his girlfriend. That's all. He drops the shield when he's walking away and he finds out. Well, he's thinking at that moment that he killed Tony's dad and mom. He says, "You don't deserve that shield." What does he do? He drops the shield. He doesn't care about the Avengers. He doesn't care about anybody else except himself and Bucky and his girlfriend. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but Tony Stark was nice and retired. He's the only one that does anything. He's smarter than everybody else, and he's the one that saves the world. And he gets begged to come out of retirement after he's with his daughter, with his wife, enjoying his time because Captain America's plan failed. He needed Tony. Got Tony. Tony gave his life. And when the Avengers needed a leader, what did he do? He stayed back in time with his wife.
Wouldn't you say, to your point, wouldn't you say that Cap dropping the shield is actually him just not caring about the propaganda of it?
No, I would say that he doesn't care about being with the Avengers because he knows that he's betraying the Avengers and specifically Tony Stark.
Okay. I think the group became something different than what he envisioned. I think what it should actually have been, right? I think what they were in Ultron and the movies before, I think were the strongest aspect of that group. But I think Cap is the guy. He was the leader through and through in all those movies.
He was Rudy.
He was.
That's who he was. He's a rah guy. He has no good ideas. He just says things, and oh wow, we're gonna follow him because he talks a lot. So propaganda. We can agree to disagree. Ryan, you got anything more?
No, I mean that you really had that one intrigued. What happens if someone says that they don't watch Marvel on one of these interviews? Do you
Well,
just not give them the job?
Just like I asked him earlier, do you like Marvel? Do you like Star Wars? They don't have those answers. I gotta figure something else out during our interview.
I'm gonna finish with one point here.
Yeah.
Tony Stark never had the hammer come to his hand.
Yeah,
So I
of
think
course.
from a worthiness standpoint,
Of course,
I think Cap is always gonna
every
win there.
Captain America fan says the same thing. That leads into the propaganda. Always.
It is what it is, man.
It's just fake news, dude. It's just propaganda.
What Tony Stark did, and for the world, but also for Spider-Man too, you know, being that mentor and stuff like that. By the way, that ending of what is Endgame with all of them there in the lake and stuff like that. Are you a crier? Do you cry in movies?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, I cry every time. Every time. Do you cry?
Yeah, I'm a big time crier.
Oh really? I would have said
yeah.
black. I
Brittany-
thought your black soul would say
Brittany
no.
always looks at me. She goes, "You're such a sap." I'm like, "Leave
Yeah.
me alone." This is
That's how you enjoy movies. Endgame got me. Barbie got me 100%.
Barbie.
Barbie.
got 100%. Yeah. That scene where she walks in and speaks to that older lady. I thought of my mom.
Oh,
Cried,
I like
100%,
that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Okay.
100%. I'm trying to think of some other ones, but they've gotten me before too.
It's about the score too, like the score.
Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Sneaky hits you. And
Guardians
if
3.
you don't,
Oh,
if you don't cry,
with Groot.
yeah,
and-
yeah. If you don't cry at Coco, you're
Oh,
not a human being.
Coco at the end with the
Yeah,
grandma.
of course, yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
I'm a Coco. Remember? Oh,
Big movie cry. Big
We're
pro movie
we're
cry.
gonna have this guy back on, please. We have
No,
to.
of course that.
The
that's
man
what I'm
crush
saying.
is just growing.
He's gonna be a regular. That's why he's sitting next to his own helmet there. Well, when we're going in the weeds throughout the season, when it's real Dolphin talk, when we real need information, you're definitely gonna be there.
Absolutely. That's when the fire stokes the best. That's when we're in it. So
Yeah.
Alex, it's been such a pleasure, brother. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on, being the first of the fan experience.
Before
Absolutely,
we
thank
let
you.
him go, speaking of this helmet, I'm going to play this little video for you, and we're
Okay.
going to play this back on the pod.
uh-huh.
I want you to explain what's going on right here, a little bit of what you were feeling. What game was this? You seem pretty excited.
So that's the Monday Night Football game against the Titans in 2023, if I remember correctly. It could be also the Bills game.
Oh, Titans.
I know it's one of the Monday Night Football games.
There's a Titans jersey there.
I like helmet props. I have a Spartan helmet. I have other helmets in my house. Had the Master Chief for a long time. Lights go on. It's love Halo. Before the game, I just thought, I was like, oh, this could be cool. I have the jacket. Maybe we bring a prop, a helmet. The Dolphins guy, I think, dresses up. There's a bunch of NFL stadiums that have guys dressing up. I'm like, man, nobody's done Halo, and nobody's ever done it with the Dolphin stuff. So having, the pleasure and the blessing of having my brother be an artist, I took advantage of it. I'm like, hey, let's get something Dolphins done with the helmet, and thought it would be a good idea. And you can actually see pretty well out of it. I think I'm gonna put it on right
There you go.
There it is.
Oh
now.
yeah.
It fits perfectly. The way the hammer fits perfectly with Cap. Fits
Well-
perfectly, so.
Well, thank you for lending that to us. It is a staple on our set.
everyone
It
loves
is.
Oh,
it.
absolutely. This is the best Dolphins prop I think I'll ever have. And I'm not sure if the audio is muffled here.
Yeah,
so I'll put it here, but-
of course it is, and it says if we do that, we'll lose. We'll do that together too. And then they lost. Just so you know.
Yeah, it's got bad luck. It's got bad luck in the stadium for sure. But hey, it's the effort that counts,
Absolutely, we can keep it here, but I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Alex. Thank you, Master Chief. So long, folks.
Sayonara, suckers.
Thank you.